After a story like that, Maniac couldn't just stay behind, so he tagged along when Grayson went back to work. He helped the old man raise a new fence around the children's petting farmyard. When the park superintendent came around and asked about the kid, Grayson said it was his nephew, came to visit for a while. The superintendent who managed the budget said, "We can't pay him, you know." And Grayson said, "Fine, no problem." And that was that. From then on, Maniac was on the job with Grayson every afternoon. They raced fences, mended fences, hauled stone, patched asphalt, painted, trimmed trees. They ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, sometimes in the equipment room, sometimes at a restaurant. They spent weekends together. All that while, Grayson told baseball stories, insisting all along, "I ain't got no stories." He told about the Appalachian League and the Carolina League and the Pecos Valley League and the Buckeye and the Mexican leagues, about the Paducah Twin Oaks and the Natchez Pelicans and the Jessup Georgia Browns and the Laredo Lariats, all minor league teams, minor league baseball. Sleazy hotels, sleazy buses, sleazy stadiums, sleazy fans, sleazy water buckets, curveballs and bus fumes and dreams, dreams of the majors, clean sheets, and an umpire at every base. Funny stories, happy stories, sad stories, just plain baseball stories. The happiest story being the one about Willie Mays' very last at bat in the minor leagues before he went up to the New York Giants and immortality. Well, it was okay Grayson himself who had last crack at Mays in the ninth inning of a game with Indianapolis. And what did Grayson do? All he did was set the say hey kid down swinging on three straight curveballs. The saddest story was the one about the scout who came down from the Toledo Mud Hens. The Mud Hens had a rooster slot, and the scout had a notion to fill it with the pitcher with the wicked curveball named Averell Grayson. This was Grayson's big chance, for the Mud Hens were Class Triple-A ball, one short step from the majors. The night before the game, Grayson spent half of it on his knees by his bed, praying. And even 5 minutes before the game, in the dugout, he bent down, pretended to tie his shoe, and closed one eye at it and prayed, "Please let me win this ball game." Which was something, since he had never gone to a church in his life. "God must have fainted," he said to Maniac. And indeed, maybe God did, or maybe he only listened to major leaguers, because Grayson took the mound and proceeded to pitch the flat-out awfulest game of his life. His curveball wasn't curving, his sinker wasn't sinking, his knuckler wasn't knuckling. The batters were teeing off as if it were the invasion of Normandy Beach. Before the third inning was over, the score was 12-0, and Grayson was in the showers. He was 27 years old then, and that was the closest he would ever get to the big show. He hung on for 13 more years, a baseball junkie, winding up in some hog tamale league in Guanajuato, Mexico, until his curveball could no longer bend around so much as the chili pepper, and his fastball was slower than a senorita's answer. He was 40, out of baseball, and for all intents and purposes, out of life. All those years in the game, and all he was fit to do was clean a restroom or sweep a floor by a chalk line, or, far, far down the road, tell stories to a wide-eyed homeless kid.